Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. This is Red Dissection. I'm breaking down Manchester United confused draw against Liverpool 2-2 at Old Trafford. To be honest, from the start you knew Manchester United weren't in the races. They were completely outplayed. The XG is nearly 3.5 for Liverpool and not even one for Manchester United. They've conceded 28 shots again, and the first half Liverpool had like 15 shots and we didn't even have a single attempt on their goal, and that is the gulf between the two teams. Not necessarily in the quality of the players, because I don't think Liverpool showed great amount of quality, especially in their final third. The likes of Nunes and Diaz and even Salah looked jaded and off pace, and technically they were found wanting on a lot of occasions on certain counter attacks, certain opportunities in front of goal, and their lack of quality gave United a second wind. Bruno was handed down an opportunity which he took well. A good strike from Bruno. That is something that we've seen with him and Rashford. They are moments player. They can give you a highlight reel, a one-off victory, but obviously they cannot win you consistently games and championships. But that's what Bruno did. We got a little confidence from that. Then Menu scored another world-class goal, great finish. So Menu, I thought Menu had a bad game, one of his worst. He looked like a headless chicken all by his own in midfield. Because Casemiro is abysmal. I think his long passes sell by date, and he needs to be put out of his misery as well. And then Ten Hag struck. He again made some stupid substitutions, took out Garnacho, brought Mount on. I don't understand for what, and then pushed Bruno onto the left hand side, and we consider a penalty from Bruno's side because he doesn't have the discipline, he doesn't have, that leadership quality or that kind of sage mentality to, to suss out danger. The mistake from Wan-Bissaka, but I still don't think that was a clear-cut penalty. I thought Elliot dive, and this was another soft penalty that we have conceded 3 in 2 matches. Of course, Wan-Bissaka went to the ground, and you're putting it in the hands of the referees, and they made that decision. There was no replay on the TV broadcast, which is surprising. But anyway, the penalty was given. Obviously, Onana was never gonna save it. He died before Salah could arrive to kick that ball, and it was an easy finish for Salah. It was all hands to the pump. We got another chance from Anthony, but we were never going to win that match. And we were in Liverpool's graces. I mean, it was their charity that we took. I thought that they'll be really livid with themselves. They had the opportunity to kill the game in the first half, and they didn't. And we took advantage of a couple of opportunities we had, and those two goals were world-class goal. Apart from that, I don't think we strung two passes together. And it was another abysmal performance for Manchester United. There is no going away from that fact. And Ten Hag still needs to be booted out of this club. Coming to statistics, Liverpool had more than 200 passes than us. The XG is more than 3 goals. It should have been a 3 or 4 goal deficit at halftime. They had 28 shots, 10 in the box, 18 out of the box. At halftime, they had 15, and we had none. They had like 7 or 8 big chances. They only took one out of those. Obviously, the other was the penalty. They'll have to kick themselves. I mean, Liverpool. This was a game for them. You could say that it was a must-win, but I still think they are still in the fight for the championship. They'll be kicking themselves for losing those points. I think they dropped unnecessary points and gave United a chance, especially the first goal. There was no need for it. United were never in the match. It was a mistake from Konza, but a great finish from Bruno nonetheless. Coming to play rating, I thought Onana should have saved that first goal. I think this has happened far too many times. The ball hits his hand and he cannot save it. He doesn't have strong wrist or something. There's a weakness there and he keeps letting them in. Apart from that, he didn't have too many shots saved, especially not the threatening shots. But he didn't commit any other mistake all through the match. On the penalty, you sadly don't hope him to even dive the right way, let alone save a penalty. And that's what he did. So a mixed bag from Onana. Diogo Dalot was probably one of our better players. Technically, sadly, he's one of the better players that we have on the ball with his first touch, even driving with the ball, dribbling with the ball. I think he did quite well. Defensively, also, I think he got stuck into Diaz. Didn't give him any clear opportunity. It was the main mistake on the corner that he lost his man Diaz, and Dalo didn't have anything to do with that. I think it was a regulation performance from Dalo. Billy Kombala, I think he was the man of the match. He gave a spirited performance, very top notch in terms of his physicality, his tackles, his interceptions. and he was up for the fight. He was cheerleading as well, whipping up a frenzy for the crowd, and he certainly was a coming of age performance for him. If he can bring more technicality and more care on the ball in his game, I think he could be a regular fixture in the squad next season. Harry Maguire also, I thought, physically dominated his opponents. In the first half, he had some few, dangerous situations, certain skirmishes. But what I liked about him was that he gave a no holds barred performance. We know his limitation in terms of pace, but physically he was dominating his opponents, especially Salah and Darwin Núñez. Apart from that sketchy 20 minutes in the first half, I thought Maguire looked composed and a decent performance from Maguire. Van Bissaka had a great game defensively apart from that mistake, and this has happened far too often for my liking. I mean, he just loses concentration at the most missed opportune time, and that's what happened against Harvey Elliott. He wasn't going to do anything in that situation. He was always going to come on his left foot and pass the ball or cut back for another player. There was no need to go to the ground, and even though I still think there wasn't a clear-cut penalty, but he certainly went to the ground and gave referee the opportunity to put them out to his whistle, and that's what he did. A terrible mistake from Wan Bissaka, and certainly something that is creeping into his match quite regularly. He must be called out for that. Coming to midfield, Casemiro had a stinker, howler really. It was one of those performances where you were thinking he doesn't even belong at this stage of football, at this level of football. He cannot play for any Premier League side. The kind of deterioration he's on, the fall from the grace, I mean, how the mighty have fallen. Even compared to last season, he just looks so out on his legs. He cannot run back, that's for sure. But even in terms of anticipation, missed time tackle with the ball, he's horrendous. Probably up there with Bruno, completely devoid of any kind of care and control on the ball. This was an unforgivable performance from Casemiro. Kobe Mainoo scored that wonderful goal. Really stunning goal that. Keeper had no chance. He was adding into the top corner the moment it left his boot. But apart from that, it was a horrible performance from Mainoo. He looked like a headless chicken, a rabbit in front of headlights. Certainly, in terms of his positional play, he looked completely out of it. I don't understand what happened. Maybe the physicality of Liverpool players. He looked rushed and ruffled, and it wasn't a good performance. No composure, no quality on the ball. His passing was off. Defensively, he looks lethargic. Physically, there is a lot more to improve from him. But that goal, I mean, we have to give those points for that wonderful goal that he scored. Garnacho running all through the match. I think his substitution changed the game. He should have been kept onto the pitch because he was giving us an outlet more than Rashford ever did. And he had no support from the likes of Haaland or Rashford. He was on his own. So out of the forwards, I thought he was the best player. He was involved in the second goal, and his limitations we know in terms of his technical ability, but certainly in terms of his spirit and his passion, he was right up there. Bruno Fernandes scored that magnificent finish. I mean, he has got this in him, Bruno. I mean, he is a moments player, highlight player, and this goes straight to his highlight reel. But his overall game, him and Casemiro was horrendous. I mean, they were playing for the other team. They're playing for Liverpool. I mean, the constant giving away of the ball under no pressure, under no duress, and those frequent turnovers. I mean, he is spirited and passionate, but he just lacks discipline, and there is no accountability over him. He played another 90 minutes. He should have been brought off, sadly, around 80 minutes rather than Garnacho. I think he should have been subbed off for Mount. And Ahmad didn't get any opportunity because we know that Bruno is never going to be taken out of the team and taken out of the firing line. He had another opportunity over the top, rushed it again, and he rushed all his passes tonight. Apart from that finish, kudos to him for that shot, but it was a typical Bruno performance, not good enough for Manchester United. Marcus Rashford, he went off injured. I think it looked like he was playing injured because he didn't provide us anything. But I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch. Believe me or not, I think Haaland was worse. But Marcus Rashford, he tried to track back a couple of times, but he only complicated things, gave away the ball in our own defense, and that is criminal. And he just lacks any kind of confidence. I don't think he is a confidence player. I think right now the criticism that he's getting, deservedly so, I think it's getting to his head, and there is no future for him at Old Trafford. I think the sooner we get rid, the better for both parties. Rasmus Hojlund was the worst player on the pitch. He couldn't dribble, he couldn't hold up the ball. He couldn't finish. He couldn't provide any kind of first touch. Took no care of the ball. His runs were completely puzzling as to what was the aim of those runs. He was completely ragdoll, dominated by Virgil van Dijk. He looked like a boy among men, and he was completely ragdoll all through the 90 minutes that he played. He was kept on for 90 minutes. I don't understand why, for what. He doesn't give us anything, and he's probably one of the reasons that most of our counter attacks even break down. And I think Ahmad should have been brought on for him. I think he would have done a lot better because Rashford was taken off. I was sure that Bruno and Højlund were never going to be taken off, and that's what happened. And literally, he didn't do anything good for the minutes he stayed on the pitch. And I don't understand how we could spend such amount of money without proper scouting of the players. Because apart from those goals in a couple of purple patches that he had in the Champions League and late last year, early this year, he just lacks so many fundamental qualities as a striker and as a football player. He needs to improve a lot before he's good enough for the starting lineup, especially at a club like Manchester United. Coming to substitution, Anthony, I thought it was a good display for Anthony. He was unfortunate that he wasn't starting. I think he should have been given that starting berth after his performance against Chelsea. And when he came on, he looked spirited, got stuck into Luis Diaz, stayed away, and that was good to see. Even on the ball, I thought on a couple of counter attacks he did really well. Since he came on, we hardly kept ball for any length of time. I think he couldn't get involved into the match like he did against Chelsea because we hardly got the ball from Liverpool. In terms of his performance, I thought that was a promising cameo and a good performance from Anthony. Amrabat came on in late. I think he should have been brought on quite early. Casemiro needed a lot of help in that midfield, and he provided a good screen. I thought Liverpool didn't get too many opportunities after Amrabat came on in for Menu. Really attacking wise, he doesn't provide us anything. There were a couple of opportunities on the counter attack, and he kept on passing backwards and sideways. Loose balls that were latched on by Liverpool players and led to counter attacks. I think he's just been relegated to doldrums because his position is untenable. We know that there won't be any permanent move, and his loan is coming to an end after a couple of months. I mean, he comes on the pitch, but we know that Ten Hag doesn't have confidence in him. He hasn't been given a fair crack, and I think today I cannot have too many complaints because he did his job well. Obviously, we'd like to see more from him on the ball, but these kind of breadcrumbs, I don't expect too much from him. Mason Mount came on in late for no reason, literally against Chelsea in this match. He didn't have any role to perform. He was playing the number 10 role. Bruno was shifted to the left hand side, and literally for no reason. He didn't contribute anything. The match was too big for him. He's certainly not good enough for Manchester United, and I don't understand why he was brought on over Ahmad, somebody who has scored just a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, a winner against Liverpool at the same stadium. And Liverpool must have been afraid of his pace and his trickery and the devilment that he brings. And the fact Mount was brought over him, it just criminal. And Erik Ten Hag needs to pay for this. Coming to the manager, Erik Ten Hag just put him out of his misery, out of his depth, completely clueless, no tactics at all, the same humdrum routines that never works. Attacking wise, we just live off some scraps that other teams give us. The mistake that Kwanzaa did gave us the first goal. Probably the worst coach side in the first two divisions of English football, certainly in the Premier League, but also I think many championship side would do a lot better than us, and certainly better than Erik Ten Hag in terms of giving us a proper football structure and a team effort, cohesive effort. He gives us nothing, and there is no promise, there is no hope, no matter how delusional Ten Hag supporters are, and no matter how much copium they sell, there is no getting rid of the fact that eyes can see. We can see what he's doing to this club, to the players. Clearly, players are not top quality. They are not good enough to win championship, but certainly they can do a lot better. They can at least compete with other teams. This Liverpool side wasn't that great, even though they are sitting right at the top of the table, but technically they are so deficient. Apart from McAllister, obviously Salah is on the wane, but the likes of Luis Diaz, Nunes, I mean, they're not top quality players. And not to even try against such team and to give them the freedom of Old Trafford, it is criminal. It is inexcusable, unforgivable. The experiment has failed, and the sooner Jim Glazer and the rest of the Glazers do the right thing, I think the better for both parties. And we just need a parting of the ways as soon as possible. This performance and this result meant nothing. We are not getting top four or top five. I think this just delays the inevitable. Erik Ten Hag will last this season for sure. I think he'll be given till the end of the season at least, or till the semi-final at least. If he loses the semi-final, maybe he can be sacked earlier. But I think we are in a limbo. The Ineos and Glazer partnership is certainly a devil's pact, and we are reaping the rewards for this. I think there's a lot worse to come in the future, and I have no optimism. It has become a chore just to support this team, this club, with the kind of people in charge, and even the players on the pitch, in the squad. You never want to support these kind of players who don't even fight, who show no quality, no bravery, no courage on the ball. This is a trial for all of us who have seen the Sir Alex Ferguson era, like Sir Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, and even the likes of Ferdinand, Vidic, those fighters, those warriors. This is a travesty, and I think this is something that we have to endure with patience. There is no Qatar, there is no full ownership, there is no overhaul of the system. So I don't expect too much even in the future. But certainly for now, I think Erik Ten Hag is on borrowed time, and the sooner we get rid of him, the sooner we can move on and try to at least attempt a revival of this great club. So we'll be back for the Red Prep show for the Bournemouth match. Please join us for that. Until then, take care, do good. Pray for Palestinians, all the oppressed people. Assalamu alaikum.